Welcome back. Indiana Sports Beat Radio coming to you here on this Thursday. Jim Coyle with you as always. And the special treat, Bob Kravitz and Rick Bozich. How are you, gentlemen?
Fantastic. How are you, Jim? Rick?
I cannot
Doing
complain.
good. Doing good. Good to see Bob and Jim.
Robert, what is new for you? It's happy Hanukkah again, like the phrase you and Honimus, that's right.
Honimus, yeah.
Dustin DePirick said hello, by the way. He was just on a little bit.
Good man. Good
he
man.
said, be sure to say hello to Bob for us.
Yeah, I'm not writing a lot this week. I'm working on a few things. We have a NBA 75 Best Players series. So I'm headed to French Lick next week to do something on Larry Bird, who's our number 7 player of all.
Now, what are you talking down there? Who are you talking, since he doesn't live there now or whatever? Are you talking to
there's a guy there who's with the West Baden Museum who's going to do me do a self-guided, or he's going to do a guided tour of Larry Bird, memorabilia and where he went to school, where he grew up. I've already talked to Bill Hodges, his coach at ISU. And I'm talking with Jim Jones on Friday, who is his high school basketball coach. And so that's for something in February. At least I hope it's February. I hope I haven't missed deadline. And my Mariotti piece that I talked about, that's finally going to go in mid-January. And I got a lot of college basketball next week with IU and Purdue both being home.
I got a lot of problems with you people.
We hope.
We hope. Exactly.
Yeah, Indiana's game tonight canceled. We were talking a little earlier in the break with Rick. The non-con games getting canceled, that's one thing. But once you get into conference play, it's going to be a whole different animal. And yesterday, the Big Ten finally, of course, last to come out. Let's see what everybody else does. And they did pretty much what everybody else did. I don't know if there's any significant differences as far as what the thing that scares me. I forget where that line is, but some games will they'll make their own decision on whether or not it's rescheduled to this. And I'm like, wait, how do you? So they've already set it up to where we're going to kind of do it as we go along, kind of a thing. It seems like that's always scary.
Yeah, that's all you can do, though, because that's why they call it a variant. I mean, this thing keeps evolving and changing, and I give the NFL credit. I mean, the Colts, my God, did they get a big break this week? I mean, first, I know this sounds terrible, but if Carson Wentz was going to get COVID, you really needed it to happen like sometime in the next week or two, because you just didn't want that to happen during the playoffs. But now it looks like he may not even have to miss a game, because they're talking about 5 games or 5 days instead of 10.
But isn't that for vaccinated people?
No, that's for unvaccinated players. It used to be 10 days. Now with the CDC changes, they're saying 5 days. So if Carson was tested positive on Tuesday, he could play on Sunday.
So how many days for a vaccinated player then?
All they need is 2 negative tests to get out and of that list. So that could be a day or 2. Yeah,
because the Colts, speaking of the Colts, we'll have Matt Taylor on tomorrow, but 2 incredible back-to-back wins to just propel them from nowhere. Well, they were on a charge, but they're 0-3. They started the season 0-3. And now they have a 97% chance of making the playoffs, playing really well. How does this hurt them if they don't have Wentz this week? What if they don't have him? What the hell are they going to do?
Well, first of all, I think they're going to have him based on what we've learned. We'll know more from Frank Reich today at 11:15. I'll listen in the press conference, but I think that Carson will be able to play. I think that Darius Leonard, originally he was set to miss 2 games. But because of the change in protocols from 10 days to 5 days, he will be able to go this coming week. Same with Quentin Nelson, and some other guys will be coming off the list. But no, I'll tell you the truth. I'm usually dead wrong about these things, but I totally saw the season unfolding as it has. I really felt like they would get off to a really tough start with Carson missing so much time in training camp, the offensive line being beat up, and a brutal schedule to start. I mean, they faced 4 teams that had won 10 games or more last year, and then they found their sea legs, and they've been terrific ever since. And yeah, it's a great testament to Frank Reich and that coaching staff. I think they've done a marvelous job. Look, if Wentz can't go, I think it's Ellinger, or Ellinger, I should say. But that doesn't make me feel real good.
Mm-hmm. Well, at least it's against the Raiders and not the Patriots or.
Right, but the Raiders have a ton to play for now. I mean, the Raiders are still one of those 800 teams that are right around 500, and if they win, they're in really good shape for the playoffs. So I think we're going to see a really inspired Raiders team. I think this is going to be with or without Carson Wentz, I think this is going to be a really tough game. If they play the way they've been playing, lights out. But I think this is going to be a really tight game. I don't know what the spread is, but it shouldn't be that much.
The Raiders. What a perfect segue. Rick, yesterday we lost John Madden unexpectedly. I grew up with him, listening to him. The Sundays, Pat Summerall and John Madden in the winter and January. There was nothing else much to do. And listening to those two voices, that was a long time of coming into my ear, man, and a lot of other people as well. But that was just, if you watch football, you grew up with John Madden.
Yeah, I think John Madden is responsible as anybody you can name, player, coach, owner, whatever, for the NFL's incredible rise in popularity and to become the sports behemoth it is right now. Not just from his work on television, because he was able to break down strategy in a way that I think the average person could understand it and laugh at it and have fun with him. But also obviously because of his association with the Madden video game.
Right.
And that became uber popular. And he did it on all 4 networks. He did it with all different, didn't matter whose play-by-play guy was, whether it was Summerall or Al Michaels or whoever. His legacy exceeds anybody that I can think of.
Yeah, I've gotten a chance to do some pretty cool stuff in my career. When I was 24 or 25, I took a train ride with John Madden from New York's Times Square, or not Times Square, we're at Penn Station, into Detroit for a Christmas.
Holy cow.
A Thanksgiving game in Detroit. So I just hung out with John Madden for hours and hours and hours. And just a great, sweet human being. I learned so much about football and just, being a dude from that guy.
He was just so honest, and I think every day he was an everyday guy. You said he could break it down for the everyday. He was an everyday guy. He just seemed like that, and who just got propelled because he was on TV. But he wasn't it was not for one of the big time franchises. It was Oakland. It was that gritty, tough, nasty group of fans, and Al Davis. What a pair, Al Davis and John Madden.
Well, Al Davis was a tough guy to work for, as we found out about 100 times since then, and he was able to do it somehow. And secondly, you got to tip your cap to Madden, because he's one of the few guys who decided, I think it was age 42, that there's more to life than this. I read something yesterday. It was one of the obituaries about how when you're involved in sports as a coach or a player, you fly into a team, you go to the hotel, you go to the stadium, you go to the airport, you go home, you don't really see the city. And there had to be more to life than that. And he walked away from it, and he never went back, like a lot of coaches do.
Right. Yeah, he gave up. Yeah, he gave up a lot of money, and he could have coached as long as he wanted.
Well, he did the right thing. Lots going on in basketball. Miro Lito has set up his visits, Rick, the Finnish player that will be visiting Baylor, Villanova, and Indiana. Oof. So he is obviously a prime target.
Yeah, that's the one they've sent Dane Fife over there to see, I guess, one time.
Yes.
I mean, that's pretty tough competition. Villanova has a great track record for developing players, putting them in the NBA, and Baylor hasn't lost since 1979. It looks like they're repeat #1 team, and hat tip to Mike Woodson and Dane Fife for getting in there swinging. Those are the kind of guys you're probably going to get 25% of them, but you got to get in the ring and try if you're going to elevate the talent level on your team. And the one thing I've noticed about Mike Woodson, just in the time he's been there, is he is definitely an advocate that guards are what matter, and he's got 2 commitments for guards for next year, and then 2 more for the following year, and he's going for another one, guards and wings. So he wants guys who can dominate the game with the basketball in his hand, which is what he should want, because if you look at the weakness of this Indiana team right now, it's guards.
Right. And that's what wins the tournament.
And I was up in at Tinley High School last night watching CJ Gunn.
How'd he look?
And he did not start the game, came in with about 5 minutes left in the quarter, and ended up, I think, with 11 points in the first quarter in that short span. And for the game, he had 34, 18 of which came in the fourth quarter, which he tried to do his best. Reggie Miller, he hit three straight threes. He hit a fourth three, but he had 18 points in the fourth quarter when they were trying to make a furious comeback.
Is Tinley any good?
They're a 1A school, and the game started out where it was going to be a runaway, and Lawrence North just got big-headed, got away from what they were doing, and Tinley started turning them over and just hustling their butts off. And the next thing you know, that stupid game was tied. And then in the third quarter, they were down. Lawrence North was down. They were down like 14 points, but got it back very, very close largely because the team was all of them working their tails off. You got Omar Cooper on there as well, who's a hell of an athlete. But CJ Gunn was he was, I don't want to say Reggie Miller looking esque, but he was taking the shot. He's not afraid to shoot, not afraid to try to get his shot off. And he's got enough height, enough range where he can do that. He's got enough length. And when he's on a roll, he can tell. And man, like I said, hit those 3 in a row in the fourth quarter. That's pretty big for a high school kid to be able to do that when your team is needing that. It was definitely different than what I saw him play in I think it was the junior senior all-star game. Maybe I saw him where he did not have a good shooting night at all. He was like 2 of 11 or whatever, looked kind of apprehensive. And last night was his first game back off of injury.
Right.
It had been he did not look like it at all. He was ready to play. And so, yeah, he looks a lot better. He can definitely shoot the ball. No question. And get to the rim, for that matter. He's definitely, I can see, starting to see, like you just said, a pattern of Mike Woodson, of the style athlete that he wants, that he covets, likes to get. Like a Miller Kopp, but more athletic. Well,
you want guys that the defense, has to fear, because they can beat their man off the dribble and force you to switch and rotate and cause problems and create for themselves and create for others. And Johnson can do that this year when he's on and his head's locked in the game. But Stewart's a guy that somebody has to help.
He's the only one
open.
Yep.
Kopp mostly people have to do that. Finney I think he was better the last game against Northern Kentucky, but he doesn't seem to have that extra gear or extra drive to sort of be aggressive. And the other guys haven't proven it. So I think Woodson says, he needs guards who are going to be somebody that the other team fears.
Yeah, without question. And they're bringing those in. Caleb Banks, another player that's coming in. He had 34 and 17 last night. So looking forward to see how it goes in the next couple of years. Mike Woodson is definitely trying to build his program. It seems from a base, not through the portal. You had to use the portal a little bit when he first got here with Miller Kopp and those guys, but I think he wants to build his team through recruiting.
Yeah, I agree. He may have to get a big man out of the portal for next year after Trace Jackson Davis, and if Race Thompson also goes, but they'll need another big man. But I agree. I think he's trying to build his own guys who will be around for a few years.